actually, so most of the guys have the clear idea, but few have some confusion. Okay, so there is a lot of difference between how you are design the system. Right? Design the system in the sense, if they gave the requirement, you have to ask the questions continuously until unless you have to understand the two things. First is the requirement have come up with the two types. One is the functional, another one is the non-functional. What is functional? What is non-functional? So if the interview this round also not a big deal, but if you have learned this one, like you can able to understand the clear idea. So what my main suggestion going to be, my main suggestion going to be, whenever if you are working in any system, anything, understand the base, how the entire flow was happening, how like that is the base level things, like how entire business logic was happening. Like if you are went or if you are hired by PayPal or some other payment apps, okay, how the flow was going to be. Client requesting, we are receiving the server, how many servers we have, how the load was distributed, how this flow was done. This is a two top level. Fine. Come to the depth. Next to depth level, what we have to, what are the tables we have, how they are managing the failures. Start from the failures. If you, whenever you are going to work on the any company, they will start from you, not directly work on the future. You will start from work on the bugs. Why? Because they are force you work on the bugs. While you are working on the bugs, it's not too easy. Debugging is not easy. This is a really big deal. Coding is too easy. If you are write a new feature, you can do it because you have the criteria, what I have to achieve, everything you know, you can build it from the scratch. But working on the existing things and reading other guys' code is too difficult. But if you did, you can able to gather other guys' thoughts. That is a really good thing. Okay, one of the things we are mainly missing in the learning, we are going to the tutorial or coming here, we are doing the practice. This is not at all big deal. Or if we are doing the lead code, if we are going to check the discussion, that is a fine. But after the check the other guys' code output, how those guys thinking, okay, how which approach they are thinking, okay, continuously if we are doing, you also become can able to think more than that. I am explaining something, right? You guys can able to suggest some other better system what I am explaining. You can do that. So how it will come, you have to check other guys code. So always what those guys will do, another most of you take all company what they will do, they will start from the bug. Maybe like a few test cases, let them you guys, because the test developer is not only going to do the develop the code. So what is the purpose? Main thing, understand the logic, then get the clear idea, broke into the multiple chunks, then start working on the code. Then I have to test. If you have come to the test, you have to do the few more things. First one is that manually you have to test for application. That means like you created the student creation API. Okay. Am I going fast? Let me read it. Am I going fast or this is fine? You guys adapted, right? Okay, fine. So now you guys created one student API. Okay, that's mainly for the create the student. Okay. Now you completed. Now everything was done. What is the next step you have to do? You have to do the testing. Not do the testing in the scenario or some other frameworks what we are used to, right? Those things not needed. First manually test few scenarios like it is working. If I am giving the null value, what is the response? Is it working correctly or not? If I not even send the key, it's showing some error or not. Once you trigger API run successfully, it's actually created in my database. I have to check this flow. Okay. Then what you are going to, then you write the code for the testing. So what that will do, what is the purpose of that one? Now today you are building something. Okay. You write the test cases. That means this code will work for this scenario. Future, if another scenario is coming, because in dynamic world, if you deploy any application, plenty of dynamic scenarios will come. No one can't predict. This is the final. This is the final. No one can't do that. Definitely, continuously the evaluation will be there. But how you are adapting it, that is too important. The major purpose of testing what you written in the code, right? So you can able to test if it is like whenever if you are pushing any test server or staging server, that time if anyone running, that time itself they can able to get a clear idea my code is working or not. So that is the actual purpose. Okay, how much test cases you covered, how your code quality going to be like. That means you written some snippets, like some block of codes you written, right? That code is actually going to work as my expectation or not. Because every time I can't do the manual test, I can't every time can't trigger the API. But if you are written using the test framework, whenever if you are before deploying, you can able to run the test cases. So that means if these things is passed, definitely my user input also will be passed. Why? Because I am going to mark the user input only, right? Clear? Fine. So this is how you are going to design the system. Let me explain the all the requirements. Okay. So actually, this is how the system design round going to be. If you are attending the interview, those not conducting the system design also, that is fine. But you have to get the clear idea what is the system design. Nothing is any rocket science are different. Rocket science also too easy if you are going to nowadays if you want to learn. So my main thought is nothing is a big deal. Everything is easy, but the main thing is we are not starting yet. How many days passed? We start came here for training. 2 months, 60 days. How many questions you solved from the link? I told in the middle only. Take example how the compound will work. Okay, if you have started the only one question per day, now you can able to complete the 60 question. So that means you can able to analyze the 60 kind of logical thinking. You don't want to stop there. You have to be able to think other things. So if I am doing some like a substring again, there's a multiple ways you can do the loop, or else you can use some direct method, concatenation or a string or slice. It depends. What I'm telling, slice is coming for JavaScript, like a substring is coming under the Python. So those things, like it will differ. You can able to continuously thinking. So if you have a logical thinking, no one can't beat you. Okay, that's the simple thing. Nothing is a big deal. If you want to start it, this is also not too late. Okay, you can start. Okay, so let me deep dive into the system design. Okay. Actually, I don't want any motivation on those things. Okay, I'm telling the truth. This is the actual things going to be. If I started also some other new things, if I'm going to learn the AI, how the AI was working, so I want to adapt with AI also, I can do that from day one. What I'm doing, that is a day two I'm doing. Every time you have to step. First step you have to do. The next step, automatically the surrounding will take care of it. Simple. Okay. So let's start from the system design. Design the URL shortening service. Okay. So how many? If I'm telling this requirement, URL shortening service, what is mean by that? All of you guys share your thoughts. Don't keep your mouth shut. That is not allowed. What is mean by URL shortening?
Basically, the URLs are very long, which are hard to remember. So we shorten the URL so that easy to use.
Okay. It's not only the hard to remember. So it's going to be the load. How many characters you are going to store further. So many constraint was there. So that's why the URL shortening coming to the picture. So that is the issue I am solving. That is a really good point. Why I am telling what is the issue. Anyone giving the requirement, get the issue first. Okay, this is the issue my application going to solve. What I am going to solve. Clear. First route was clear. What is the next thing? What is mean by URL shortening? What is the benefit I am going to get from that? If I give the long URL, a simple, only one liner. If I am giving the long URL, I will finally going to get the short URL. That means it don't cross more than the 50 characters. Within that also you can able to do that. Okay. Now, this is a top level understanding, right? Fine. What is the next thing I have to do? How I am going to implement this. Okay. So maximum the around system design round going to be maximum 40 minutes. Okay. So first 5 minutes, what you have to do, you have to understand the requirement. How to segregate the functional and non-functional requirement. In that, you have to set the clear boundary. This is the things what I am going to do. Get the clear requirement from the interview. Once this one done, what is the next step? Now what we did, like what is mean by designing a short URL, like a shortening URL. What is mean by that? What are things going to come under that? What is the top level architecture? Where it is want to go? This is the top level things what we discussed. That is the solution. Like if I'm giving the big URL, they have to shrink the small one. I have to finally get the small URL, shortened URL. That is my final goal. Okay. Now going to the some top level architecture. Okay. I got the clear idea. Now the top level architecture is going to be take the 20 minutes maximum. Take 20 minutes for the top level architecture. In that architecture only I have to design. Okay. How can I do this? How I am going to achieve this? The flow of logic. Request coming from the user. Fine. It came until my server. Fine. Now it received my API, shortening the URL API. What is the next thing I'm going to do?
Value in database.
What I have to do?
Store the value to the database by mapping the short URL to long URL.
Okay, so this is fine. So that means I have to create some short URL. For the short URL, I have to map this long URL. So whenever is any resolver is asking, I have to give this resolver URL, right? Okay, fine. Now, how can I create this short URL? If you are complete, if you are given the answer for this question, the top level architecture was gone. I am telling us it's too fast, but the things are not going to be really like that. But this is how it is going to work. How you are going to do that, and it should be unique.
Base 62.
You have to get some hashing. So that means you have the long URL. Give that string and get to the some hash code for that. Okay. Sometimes the collision will be there. So do you guys know what is meant by collision, right? Right. So there is no doubt here. Sometimes the collision will happen, but you have to handle gracefully. So what are the questions going to ask? How you are going to handle the collision? While creating, how you are, if you are based on creating any particular date and a time or millisecond, if you are doing same timing, same milliseconds, the request, two requests are coming. How you are going to process? These are the questions maybe will arise. Okay. Now our 20 minutes work was done. I am telling us a bit too top level how it is going to work. How it is really work, the things will take roughly 20 minutes. Okay, fine. Now this is a top level architecture, how the things going to be. Fine. So what I told the client, load balancer, my API gateway, rate limit plus other. Everything is come under my API gateway itself. Okay. Now, so what is the next thing? Write service URL shortening. So this is nothing but I have this is a one thing I am using called as a snowflake ID. You can use the hash also or a snowflake ID. Snowflake ID per millisecond you can able to create a unique 7 to 9 IDs. Okay, per millisecond. Fraction it is lower than the millisecond, like that you can able to create. So that means that any URL is coming, you can able to store it. Fine. Now I stored my database. Now they want to read. So what I am doing, this is my read service. Okay. What I have to do, if you want to redirection, what I have to do? First I have to get the detailed URL. I have to map that one, right? So I have to get it from my cache. This is my LRU cache. So here I am using the Redis. Redis. Why I am using Redis? Bit faster. Why? Because if I am typing anything here, right? So if it is taking from the Redis cache, it will be bit faster compared than the go to the database. If it is miss, it will go to the database. Okay, fine. Next thing, what I have to do? This step was done. Next I have to do. I have to do the redirection. Fine. This is the top level architecture. Do you have any doubts? Here, if you are designing the system, I will tell what are the question will arise. Okay. Why I have to go with the NoSQL database? So maybe initially if you are designing, you just mention as a DB only. Maybe here some catch DB if you are mentioning top level architecture 20 minutes. Next 50 minutes you have to go to the depth. So that means which database, which why I am using. So Cassandra is open source. Okay. So they are supporting some other things as well. So here I am mentioning just other things. But there you have to mention the clear boundary. This is why I am choosing this one. If they are giving us some other same example kind of database, we have to tell the different. That is the issue. So I can't use that particular thing. So I can have to use this Cassandra here, like that. Okay. This is the fine. So this is how request flow. So this is for your understanding. So what I am explaining. Okay. So finally, the main answer is going to be like this. You are designing the system, you have to tell these kind of things. First one is the counter service. What is the counter service will going to be? So counter service is mainly going to take care of my entire business logic. That means receiving the URL, encode the URL, assign one particular unique ID, and store it. Right. Next, NoSQL store in the sense I am going to whatever solution I did, I am going to store that value for future use. Okay. Next thing is going to be LRU catch. So Redis, get to the actual URL to faster. Done. Next thing, analytics pipeline. So that is maybe you guys bit new for this. So it's nothing but like a Spark actually. So Spark will give the benefit. Spark is one of the tool actually. We can able to process the n number of data so as much faster we can. Okay, there is a Spark and some other things will be there. This is a PySpark. And so many things was there. Actually, Spark will do that job. The redirect URL mapping we are doing, right? So that if we are doing with the Spark, why? Because if your database have the 10 million records, how we are going to pull the things from the using just normal SQL? Not at all possible. This is it. That's why we are using NoSQL database. You can use the Spark. You can able to fetch the data. If it is a terabyte of data, so you can move that much faster. You don't cross the second. Okay. Next one is the capacity estimation. Maybe here only we have the issue. So how can I? Is it visible right clearly? Okay, fine. Next estimation going to be maybe initially you guys struggle, but keep in your mind each API how much time it will take. So here only this while you are preparing this capacity estimation only you have to be careful. Why I am telling you have to be careful? So you have to know that if I am doing this operation, how many milliseconds will take? If I am running one block of code, that means one method I want to do. So how much minimum and maximum take? Get the average, calculate it. Fine. These are the average and the assumption only. That's not the actual matrix. So maybe based with 7 characters, I can able to maximum create 3.5 trillion unique URLs. I can create more than that. This is my maximum things. So if you, while you are struggling in this particular place, ask the interviewer initial itself how much user my application should process per second, per millisecond, how many requests may I expect. Okay, clear. So based on that, you have to take the decision and you have to create the top level URL. Now, if you guys have any doubts in this first thing, this is how the system design is going to be. You are not going to write any code in that. Okay.
So this is a time series with different database.
Yeah.
If a user time period of like 12 hours is given for a URL. After 12 hours, the URL is going to be expired. The short URL. So how does it work?
So this time series is mainly used for the analytics purpose. So what is meant by analytics purpose? How many times they triggered that particular started URL? How many times they used that URL? When it was expired, like after that expired also, if they tried or not like that. So this is totally different database. So what I read from my database, I did the redirection, right? What is the next thing after I redirection? So that time I have to trigger one more things by using the Spark. So that's for mainly doing the analytics, like how much time they are using the shortened URL, when it was expired, after expired also is they triggered or not. That's why like a time series database. What is the major purpose of time series? Accurate time also you can keep it, and while you are getting the analytics that also too faster using the Spark. It can able to process the it can process the big chunk of data using the Spark. Okay. Next is the rate limiter. Okay, what is meant by rate limiter?
You set the limit for the users when multiple requests are come.
Okay.
In a millisecond, then we have to block them or we have to block the requests from the user for
Okay.
certain time.
Any other things? What is the major purpose? What is the benefit? What is the issue it going to solve?
It can it will handle the much load on the
It's not about the load. It's one of the part. Load also one of the part. It's not actual thing. What is the actual things of the rate limit? Let's take an example, real world example. If you have the mobile number, you have the phone, right? If I keep only 4-digit pin, yeah. If I keep only 4-digit pin, if you are how many possibilities the 4-digit pin going to be? 4-digit pin, how many possibilities? So if we are not adding the limit, what is going? If I am trying the possibilities, definitely any one of the possibilities is going to work. Simple, right? If you are taking the pattern also same. Maybe it will take more cases, but if you don't add the rate limiting, the security will be breached. There is no point of keeping the security. So this is how, like let's take example, any exam, any website, anything, they are trying to do the brute force. How the attackers was doing? It's not any difficult things. They are know the basic code very well. So I am not promoting those like what I am telling. How those guys are doing the hacking. They know the core basics. That means if you are putting your password, so I don't add the rate limiter. If they type the code continuously hit the possibility values, any one of the value definitely will work. This is hacking. Definitely, if you missed in the code any one loophole, they can use it. This is one loophole if you don't add the rate limiter. Per minute, how many times can you able to request? How we are going to block that? This is the first thing. So now we got the clear idea about the requirement. Okay. Now, how we are going to block that user? How we are going to tell the proper reason? Okay. No longer you can use this. How can I do that? I mentioned, right? So if I am going to receive the input, is the request processing. I I know like how can I block that request? Because the request will coming from the multiple users. Like for mobile phone, that is simple. Definitely it will coming from the anyone whoever handling that mobile. The request will coming from those guys. If you have deployed your application in the server, it how do you know each request coming from that particular guy?
API gateways.
Hmm?
Application. From API gateways, we write the logic in.
Get the question clearly. My question is now the password was what they are trying for one particular account that was wrong. That crossed the limit. Now, how you are going to understand I have to block this request or not? How you can do that?
We write the
Tell the logic.
if for mobile phones, like we want to log in, we want to draw the pattern, or we want to open that mobile.
Hmm.
If we cross the limit of 5, then it will be block that. It will give that try after some time later.
So that is the local system. So what is meant by local system? When requesting anything, I know the request coming from my system itself. Okay. After limit reach the 4 times, I have to do the things. This is fine. Now you build a SaaS application. SaaS means software as a service. You deploy in the UTP. In the UTP, you are trying to log in multiple times. How you can block that request? Because the request not only coming from you, I can able to get the request from some other guys as well. How the local logic will work here? A question
The
here.
same account from by multiple users.
This is the actual answer. So this is how you have to raise the question. My question is simple and clear. Okay. For take a mobile phone example. Okay, there is only one user or whoever have that mobile phone, they are going to use it. That means the request coming from my local machine itself. I can directly check what is the current counter. If it is reached my existing counter, I have to directly tell you reached your limit. But in your SaaS product, if you deploy it in the internet, anyone can request, right? You can't blindly process. I received 5 requests, I block you. How you are going to do that? Because 5 requests coming one user or multiple users. For one account, for multiple accounts. Understood? So now how you are going to do that using the account, which account they are trying to. If you are taking the login system, this will be different. Mobile phone it will differ. Why? Because the pattern screen lock is totally different. If you are taking any login system, how those guys are doing? First one is the email ID, which username you are using. This username I already reached my limit. So this counter was exceeded. If anyone trying from any system, I don't mind. Your limit was reached, that's it. This is the things. Now I logged in successfully. I have some other APIs also. So if they want to brute force that API, how can I handle this time? Now this is not a login system. This is my application. Inside my application, I have plenty of APIs, right? Is my way of explaining clear? What I'm telling is start from the local system. From the local system, I don't worry about the whoever using that phone, where is the request coming from, which username, I don't know. Okay, because screen lock that is not necessary. If they are initiating input, I have to check what is the current wrong limit. If it is exceeded, I have to show the error, that's it. If it is come to the login and the username, login password, that login system, if you have applied your application in a SaaS product, how there you going to handle based on the username. Clear, pakka. Next, inside my application, I am receiving the request. I have plenty of APIs. I am receiving the request from the user, multiple clients. I don't know how to block because that API is too crucial for me. Now, what do you think actually? If you are continuously hitting one API, like continuously if they are doing okay, try to breach it, your system becomes slow. Why? Because all your system going to try to process that API request. If it is failed also, that is the process will be there. It is continuously process was too high, your CPU usage was there, your RAM usage was there, your system went down. Your system will be crashed. Not even I don't want to hack that system. If I continuously initiating a request, if it is reached my controller layer, my system will be definitely slow. Then it automatically become down. No need to hack. Is it clear? Any doubts? So that's why the API gateway coming to the picture. It's not even move my API request to my services. That means it won't reach until my controller. Where it will be blocked? My API gateway itself. Like here I have the gateway. So in the gateway mainly attached with the middleware. That is a rate limiter plus middleware. In the middleware itself it will be blocked. After that, this is actually how that rate limiting system, but how it is look like this only. API gateway plus rate limiting or authentication. Okay. Now back to our question. Okay. Now we have the plenty of APIs. How can I block that? What are the ways we have? Sometimes bot detection also I have to do. How can I do it? Someone trying to steal your data. If they are logging also, they trying to steal your data. How you are going to block? Any idea? Okay. Now think from the request. How can I make this request coming from this one or not? How can I do that? Any unique ID was there each request or not? What is that? All the requests, some unique things will be there. Based on that, I can able to identify. So that means anyone uploaded any videos or any news, we can able to track who is the guy did where that system was active, when he was did everything we can able to track via visual. If your request outside of this router, of any request you are initiating, what is the how you directly reach the destination system? Hmm? how it will reach. IP address,
Proxy.
not a proxy. IP is the unique ID. So whatever request I am initiating,
Proxy only IP is
that is totally different from that. That is two more depth. How your IP was processing. I am not asking how IP was processing. I am asking if you are initiating request. Each request have the ID. I don't know where it is coming from. From based on which one? Based on the IP. Next one, if it is a user request was authenticated user request only, that means that they are logged in user only, but using that credential they try to breach my system. So that means there is a few rules I can write. What are those rules? Using the user, who is the current user? Next one is the IP. Then any other things was there? How can I able to block? So let's assume, let's take our application industry cloud. Okay, you guys have the proper sign up, right? If you have the proper authenticated credential, using that credential you guys trying to breach the system. Okay, how can I able to handle that one? Based on the user role, I can easily simply handle. Maybe that role, that API you have the access. You are continuously hitting that API. How can I block that? One is the username fine, I have the IP also. I have to block the rate limit per endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but as an API. Like if you want to get the list of course API, so you have to only trigger per minute. You have to trigger maximum 3 to 4 times. If they cross with that, I won't give any response. They are trying to breach my system. Within a minute or within a minute is too long. Within a second, why they need continuously? Is once they got the list of courses, are they going to explore the courses, or they are continuously triggering the list of courses? Actually, they won't do that. But if there any hackers are doing, they can able to do that. So that's why I have to add my rules, IP, which user requesting, next which endpoint I have to block this. Because all the endpoint rate limiter not needed. Few endpoints only rate limiter needed, but rate limiter we have to add in the top level. In the gateway level, it should be there. Why? Because if continuously attacker triggering the request, if it is received your service, definitely your application going to down. There is no doubt in that. So that's why we are mainly put that rate limiter in the gateway itself. It's not even meant by these are my two services, right? After crossing this one only, it should go to my services. Okay, let's now this is the things. Now get the detailed system design for this rate limiting. How the exact thing we can design it will going to work. Okay. So this is a rate limiter. So that means from the gateway only going to call this rate limiter, right? Because I'm adding rate limiter plus okay. Middleware is nothing but it just sit a middle between the client and your server. Okay. Maybe it's kind of sits between the two services. Keep in mind like that. Okay. How my rate limiter going to be? First, I have to get the clear idea about the rules and where I am going to store them. Rules is nothing but you are going to block by the IP or user name. How you are going to do it? That is the rules. You have to do some basic configs, right? Fine. Once that was done, now as much as faster. This is the checking for all the APIs, not a login or some other things. This is the checking. You can't take more time. You can't spend more time for checking. You have to check proper within 1 millisecond. This is 1 second. 1 millisecond. How many milliseconds become 1 second? 100 or 10 or 1000? Are you sure? Check. What is this? How many milliseconds become a second? Huh?
1000.
What is this, guys? So let's think about your per second you have the 1000 milliseconds. You have to process this one as a less than a millisecond. Using Redis that is possible actually. Okay. So next is the your this is like a after the rate. Yeah. After the rate limiter was done, you can able to allow your backend services. If anywhere this issue was broken, if it is that means you are detecting this is not a good proper request, I have to block them. So maybe I can directly tell. So you don't have the access no longer. You can try after sometimes. How you are trying the OTP system, some other system you guys are doing, right? So begin the same. This is the actual design. How they did. This is the way. Okay. So you want to. This is like algorithm choosing. This is a really crucial important. Why? Because rate limiting is not a simple thing. So which algorithm are you using? How you are going to achieve that one? There is a three main algorithm, but some other things also there. So token bucket, so fixed window or sliding window. Anyone knows the sliding window and the fixed window? Token bucket is nothing but you can keep the token for each request. You can keep it on bucket. Bucket is nothing but one particular storage. From that you can check is that how much time the counter. What is the counter for this guy? How many times it hit the API? Okay. So these things is one of the algorithms. So how you are managing the things? Okay, fine. So this is for the rate limit. Understood? Most of the time they won't ask the actual graph those things, but better for your understanding, start from the flow chart. Flow is important. If you understand the flow, writing the description about that, how you are going to handle that, which database are you going to handle, not a big deal. Okay. So that's it. Next is the chat system. Okay. Now, what is the chat system and how it is going to work now? What is chat system? What is the communication that is done? So chat system is nothing but I have to transfer my knowledge or some ideas to another guy. So that means I have to do the some services, right? Okay. Just let's design the system. Let's take a WhatsApp. While I am typing itself, are these guys showing to you he is typing? How these guys are doing? This is a bidirectional communication or unidirectional communication? Hmm? Bi or uni? Why it's bi?
Both users can use one.
What is meant by unidirectional?
Only from one side. Sending, but we can't receive the anything from other side.
Yeah, okay, good. Next. If you want to do that, is it able to achievable by API? REST API, is it possible? The main things you can do via website. Okay. So now, next things going to be if we are doing via website. How many users in the world using the WhatsApp? How many connections they have to establish? Let's see the things. Okay, actually this is how the top level things going to be. Now I got the clear idea. So now the next thing is going to be. So this is my website connection. I connected to the user one. But let's understand. Design the system first. How my system going to work? This is my chat server one. Why they mainly mention my own server back? Why? Because there is a plenty of replica servers will be there. Okay. The things going to be first. It going to check like any person service. My like my Redis is because Redis is the main heart there. Because based on that only they can able to send the message. Everything they are mainly maintaining there only. Okay. Next one is the after that the chat going to be message queue. Kafka. What is mean by message queue? So whenever if anyone asking these kind of things, message queue, remove the message. What is the queue?
One by one.
One by one, before, right? So that means how are they are managing? If any message is coming, they are putting into the queue. As much as possible, they are delivering also. So how they have putting the request into the queue, they are processing. They have a plenty of workers. So this is anyone knows what is meant by workers.
Backend program.
Hmm?
Backend program.
Background
Background.
workers. So that is nothing. Worker is nothing but. So you are requesting some API. So what API mainly do, it will process the request and return the response. Now, after processing, I don't want to until wait my client. I have to, once I get the request, I have to return the response. I have to process in backend. User don't aware of that. No need to tell the user I am doing this much things. I am putting into my anytime, anywhere. The WhatsApp mention I am putting your message into queue. You have to wait some time. After some time, the message will be delivered. Is they telling?
No.
No, they are telling. Whenever if you are sending message, the time things will become kind of watch system. They are telling. But how they are telling is the different. I put your message in the queue. That is not even the single thing. Let's have some, if you are turn off your internet, they are going to it. That means it's just keeping your local system. It's not even triggered to the server. It's once they reach to the server, they can process some other things. Okay. After that, they have some other queues as well. Why? Because local also take your WhatsApp, turn off your internet, send the same message to 5 people. Okay. Now you think which message will send first? Is they following the queue or they are following the stack? Anyone tried this?
Yes. The message we send afterwards
So local, if their application also, local also they have the queue, their server also they have the queue. So they are telling everything, all the application they are telling. But how your presentation going to be? So now we everything adapted, right? If they are single tick, they are not even turned on the internet. If they are turned on, the message will be delivered. Double tick. If they seen the message, they will show the blue tick. Okay, that is how they are managing. So they let us adapt their system. That is convenient only, not a big deal, right? You can click the info also. You can check the clear details when it is was delivered, when it is was read. All the messages they are tracking, right? This is the things actually. So this Kafka is one of the major. If you are anywhere, if you are going to Java, Kafka they will ask. So try to spend some time, get some idea about the Kafka. Okay. So Kafka is nothing just it's just a broker as a message broker. They can able to process these things. Okay, how many requests I am receiving, how I am going to give the things. Those everything they handle by this Kafka. That is too convenient and too helpful. Okay. Next thing, message store etc. This is the actual things what I explained. Next I am pushing my notification. Okay, there is a live notification was there like a FCM APNs. Okay, so FCM is nothing but as it's one of like if you are using a FCM is nothing but you can you trigger some notification. If anyone sends some things to me, I can able to trigger the notification. That's one way of communication is called as a FCM. If you are triggering that, I am able to receive by another end. So real time there is you can use the real update for the website, but for notification you can use the FCM also. Okay. Maybe how other users connected. This is how my another chat server website get the same things. What I explained initially. Okay. So this is how the entire chat system going to work. Let me stop here. Is system design is difficult. When it will be difficult?
We don't have clear idea what.
We don't have a clear idea what I am doing here. Then it will be difficult. Okay. Now you have a clear idea about the requirement, but you don't have the databases, this Kafka, these tools. Then what will happen? If you know the things also, you can able to explain. That means interviewer only know that. Maybe you guys know English, Hindi, what are the other languages? Maybe yeah, interviewer only know Chinese. Okay. You know the things, but you can't share your idea. How it is make me? You are definitely going to failure then, right? That's your fault or interviewer fault. Our fault because we have to go. We have to work. We are planning to work in China. Okay. So what I have to know? I have to know the Chinese. Okay, if I am coming here, I have to know bit. I have to know the understanding of the Telugu. I have to know that. If even I can speak, I have to manage somewhat, right? If I'm not, I can't able to do that. What is going to happen? So this is my life won't be any big deal. But if it is come to the interview, it's a really big deal. you have the things, but you can't able to share to that particular interviewer. How it is going to painful. Okay, so think about that. So then only you just spread your steps to next step and everything. Okay, this is when I know this much, I have to know this. Come little by little. Okay, today also it's not a late. Try start today also. We can able to achieve so many things. Okay, the compound well work you are doing the spending just half an hour. How many guys are spending around within half an hour per day for learning any new things, reading any blogs, reading documents, just to scrolling the not only the Instagram, just to scrolling some other Instagram also you have follow some coders or some developers, they will give the real time updates. How many guys know how many latest version coming in came in the cloud? How many new AI tools came? Okay, think about that. So notification system also. I hope this is enough more than. Do you guys need to explain some other system also? I can explain. Is it fine or I may need to explain? Clear, right? How you are going to approach the system design? This is how. This is how it's going to work. So now you guys got the clear idea how I'm going to solve that particular system design any interview. Do some mock interviews by your own. Okay. So we also will arrange like that how I did today. After that I am explaining, right. So this is not a real thing. So maybe some I will arrange based on that I will let you know. We'll arrange some mock interviews. How are you guys going to do that? How many of you, okay, if I am the interviewer, what going to happen? How many of you have that confidence? Definitely I will pass that. What about others? Okay, it's not a big deal. Okay, those guys is more than me. Okay, fine. So this is the base things. You guys get some idea. So how we are going to solve that. Okay, so everything is not a big deal. Everything up to your hand, what you are doing. Okay, fine. So tomorrow I can continue the cloud engineering things. Okay. How many guys have tried the GCP free things? No. Then how you are going to learn that?
So what I did today is enough for system design. You gave a question to me, and I'm able to. I understood what you have said, and I know what is happening there. Is the designing way is the correct, or should I need to improve?
How it is differ from what I shown here?
Yes.
You did something, right? How it is differ? What I shown there?
I'm asking like doing the word like a presentation.
That's not a big deal, like you are doing some flowchart, but they are asking the question. You have to show something. These are the key metrics I have run. This is for flow. My application going to. That is more than enough. You don't do write those machines. They will mainly give you some note paper only. Maybe they will give. They will give some chart and based on those things only. You have to write in those only. How you are designing the system. They want to give the computer. I guess most of the guys won't do that. They will give just explaining the system. They will give some time. You just architect. Architects is nothing but we are able to draft. Okay, this is how my application going to. These are the key metrics I'm going to use. That's it. They will raise the question from that what you done. That's it. Okay, this is how it's going to be. Any other doubts? Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll see you in the next session.